We have a bunch of exciting UFC fight nights coming up, and I'm going to be predicting and talking about every main event which we have in store. Let's start straight away with the upcoming weekend's matchup of Ivloev versus Murphy. Now, crazy matchup. Ivloev is on a tear. Murphy's just coming off that big KO over Pico, and yeah, it's a matchup of two top contenders who should have been fighting for the title to begin with instead of Diego Lopez. I still think they're going to give the next title shot to Gene Silva. Now, I think Murphy does have what it takes to stave off the takedown of Ivloev, but Ivloev's going to be hungry. He's a little bit younger, has more MMA experience than Murphy. He's a good striker too. And Murphy, even though he's coming off that big KO, he's not some KO artist. He went to a bunch of decisions with uh, Emmett, with Ige, with a few people before them. So I think I'll go with Evloev. Now, next we have Adesanya versus Pfeiffer. Now, this is an interesting one because I feel skill wise, Adesanya should be able to take this. Pfeiffer throws single shots, hasn't really shown off his grappling too much, I would say. And Izzy has shown amazing grappling defense in his career, and I don't think Pfeiffer should. And I think Pfeiffer is significantly below in the skill level compared to Imavov, below Dreykus, below Strickland. I think he's two notches below anyone Izzy's ever fought recently. So keeping that in mind, I think I'll go with Izzy on this one. Now let's move ahead. Oof, this should be a banger if the real Moicano comes out. Chris Duncan has been on an absolute tear. His last fight over McKinney, one round, crazy one round fight. Hit the fight before that with Rambetsky, crazy war. Who did he fight before that? Hmm, can't quite recall. Let's have a look at Chris Duncan's record. Hmm. Chris Duncan. Hmm. Vucenic, yeah, he fought Jordan Vucenic before that. Amazing performance. Bolaji Oki, amazing performance. Got rear naked choke by Manuel Torres. Not the worst loss to have, I would say. And he deserves a ranked opponent. Moicano, of course, he had an amazing performance. He was on a bit of a streak. He beat Dober, he beat Turner, finished him, beat BSD, beat the brakes off of him. I would say that's the best win of Moicano's career. You know, that BSD win has aged supremely well. BSD has himself been on a tear, but I think age has really caught up with him. You know, he got tired after one round against BSD, which he himself spoke. I'm sorry, again, he got tired after one round against Dariush. He spoke about himself. Dariush is freaking awful to see himself. His kicks are so slow, his punches are so slow, and Moicano couldn't get the job done. You know, he just had the one big moment in the whole fight, and then pretty much got beat for 14 minutes and 50 seconds. I think Duncan is in his prime. He looks strong, and I think I'll go with Duncan on this one. But Moicano has a chance, you know. I think if can, he has been off his podcast, is what I've seen lately. You know, he's been off the Show Me the Money pod. He's taking this fight super seriously. He was preparing for a fight against Ortega, but I think Duncan's way better than Ortega at the moment. You know, Ortega's kind of garbage. So I think I'm gonna go with Duncan on this one. But I think Moicano has a chance, you know, if he doesn't gas out in one round. Let's see what's gonna happen. Mm, did you miss something? Yeah, no. Prohaska versus Olberg. I'll go with Yuri on this one. You know, I think you have to be something special to beat Yuri, and I just don't see that in Carlos Olberg. You know, I think he beat Dominic Reyes, who was really worn out from the travel and the weight cut. That travel to Australia is so freaking brutal for someone. And I think Reyes was having some visa issues as well. He came in really late for the fight. Olberg could not get the job done against a 42-year-old Jan Blachowicz. Blachowicz is a tricky fight, but he hasn't really looked the best. Let's see who Ulberg has fought before this. He, let's see his. He's not a. He's way older than Yuri. He's 35. He's way older than Yuri. He's like 30, I would imagine. Mm, Volkan. Okay, that's a good win. That's a good win. But with Yuri, he was getting. If you are not something special, Yuri is gonna find a way to KO you. He loses every fight. Seems like he's losing every fight. He comes back. He gets a finish all the time. I'll gotta go with Yuri on this one. Let's see Yuri, how old Yuri is. He's 33 himself. He's not as young as I thought. He's taken a bunch of damage in his career, which Olberg hasn't. But I don't think Olberg is a KO artist to that extent. Look at these wins. These are some good wins, man. Which he has. Khalil is a good win. Hill has looked really bad in his. This is damn no, man. Yeah, I think I'll go with Yuri. He's shown that you need to be something special to get the job done against him. Basically, you need to be Pereira to get the job done against him, or King Mo, with whom he lost to. But he's also beaten King Mo actually. Yeah, he's beaten King Mo, and he's lost to King Mo as well. Who are these other people? Are there any known names here? Yeah, Seaweed always a known Uzdemir. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Yuri should be able to win this one. Put the pressure on Olberg the way Kennedy Nizuchuku did and get the win. Moving on. Burns. Oh my god. Oh, I can't believe they're putting this on the main event of a crowded fight night card. Freaking Malik Costa and Arnold Allen is happening at the Apex. Duncan versus Moicano is happening at the Apex. Sterling versus Zalal, Apex. Bunch of these big fights are happening at the Apex, but somehow Mike Malott gets gets a crowded gets to perform in front of a crowd. This is insane. Anyhow, I think Burns is just done. I think, and Mallet didn't look that bad in his last fight, but was against Holland, who's had an iffy career himself. Before that, he lost to Magny, though he was winning that fight. I don't know how he fumbled that. I think Burns will be trying the takedown strategy, will be looking for takedowns against Malott, but I think he's just gonna get tired, man. He hasn't looked good at all in his last few fights. Brady beat him pretty easily. Morales just knocked him out so badly. Who else did he fight before that? Yeah, who was he fought before? Who did he fight before Brady? He was coming off an injury. Oh my god, he's 39 years old. Old as hell, dude. He is. He's gonna turn 40 this year. That's not good. Who has he? Oh yeah, he fought Jack Della Maddalena. Yeah, he fought Jack Della Maddalena. It was Kiki, and yeah, that was a brutal knockout in its own right. He took so many unanswered shots in that matchup. Whoever the referee was deserves to be investigated. That was such a bad stoppage. So I think Mallet should be able to get this job done. I think he's going to KO Burns, get a KO victory on his record, and then Colby Covington actually came out and said that the UFC wants him to fight the winner of this fight. I think Mallet could become a name of beating Burns and Covington, but he won't be able to make it to the top welterweight. It's such a stacked division. I don't think he's gonna be able to make it to the top five. And even if they do artificially push him to the top five, I don't think he's gonna win. I don't think he's gonna win in the top five. I don't see him beating Buckley, for example. Buckley's way too good for him. Brady, I don't see him beating Brady, to be honest. I don't see him beating anyone in the top five. Yeah, no one really. Gary's another level. I think Bilal will still beat Mallet. This, by the way, Bilal and Bonfim is also happening at the Apex. While these two guys get a crowded fight, unbelievable. Let's move on. Sterling versus Zalal. I'll actually go with Aljo on this one. He's looked so good in his at featherweight. I think his striking has improved. I think his striking is tricky to deal with. Zalal hasn't shown he dude. Sterling literally outgrappled Movzar. He was just he if he hadn't he given up some key positions in the third round, he would have won that freaking fight. Zalal is coming off a victory over Emmett, not a big deal. This is going to be the biggest fight of his career, actually. Let's see who he's faced before this. He faced Topuria and Topuria's UFC debut. He's 29, so he's still a young fighter. Hasn't shown any good stand up skills. This is just, yeah, Sterling's for a different level of comp. Evloev, they both fought Cater. Aljo beat Cater more impressively than Zalal did. Took him down again and again, beat the shit out of him. Josh Emmett is not a impressive win anymore whatsoever. Jack Shore is retired, literally freaking retired. Jarno Aaron's, Billy Q, these are not good names. So yeah, I'll go with Aljo, man. Aljo's looked really good. His strikings actually looked really good. He hurt Brian Ortega a few times on the feet. He landed some good shots on Evloev as well. These are these. This is not something you can ignore in this fight. I'll go with Sterling. Oof. Now this is what fight fans are looking for, people. This is the bomb. May 2nd, Jack Della Maddalena, Carlos Prates. Fuck. I think I'm gonna go with mm, Jack. I think I'm gonna go with Jack Della Maddalena. He has that championship experience. He's been 5 rounds with Islam Makachev, been 5 rounds with Bilal Muhammad. Uh, the only 5 round fight Prates has ever been in, he's lost. Not look good whatsoever in that 5 round fight. I think he was looking to conserve energy. Nearly beat Ian Gary at the end of the 5 rounds, but I think Jack Della Maddalena is smart enough to avoid those straight power shots of Prates. Prates is so freaking good at those of lining up his opponent and of lining up his opponents and landing that big bomb. But I think Jack Della Maddalena is going to use sound defense. He doesn't have the takedown to worry about in this match. I would have actually liked to see him. I like to see him face the grappler. Maybe a Brady, but I think he would have beaten Brady pretty easily. So I think I'm gonna go with Jack Della Maddalena. I think Jack Della Maddalena is going to be really hungry to get back to the title shot. He knows what it's like to be the champ. He's still a really young fighter. How old is Jack Della Maddalena? I mean, if anything, we've seen that if you're just striking with Jack, he is just amazing at what he does. Let's see how. Yeah, he's 29. He's really young. He's still learning. I'm sure that last loss lit a fire under his belly. And yeah, I think you'll go with Jack Della Maddalena. I'm really looking forward to this. So, moving on. Oof. I think Chimaev is obviously the obvious choice to make, but I think Strickland. Uh, yeah, I think I think no man. Yeah, I think Chimaev is gonna get this done. We've seen Sean Strickland getting taken down by Dricus. He does get back to his feet, but I think Chimaev is going to show him something different. I think Chimaev is a different kind of a grappler. He has that Dagestani Chechenian style. He really knows how to tie up his opponents on the ground. They are always has the threat of the Dars. He threatens the Dars. He threatens those rear nakeds. And yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Chimaev on this one. Not much to say, man. Like Strickland has, it was an undeserved title shot, to be honest. You know, Strickland lost. He was not some long time champion. He beat Izzy. Then he faced Dricus in his first title defense, lost. Faced Costa, won. Then he got a one win streak title shot. Then which he lost. He lost badly. Terrible, terrible performance by him. Then he went on to, yeah, he took a year off, came back. He looked amazing, by the way, in his last fight. Not just in his striking, but the way he just shucked off those takedowns by Fluffy, he looked good. But I mean, another one win streak title shot for Strickland. We need to do away with these, man. We can't. We need to build up these contenders. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be talking crazy at the press conference, but I don't think he's. I think Imavov would be a much more compelling matchup at this point of time, though Strickland has a win over Nassadid. But I think, yeah, I think Chimaev is going to get this done. And then we're going to see him after one freaking year. Let's move on. Whoa, there's another crazy matchup. Allen is, of course, coming off that loss to Gene Silva. Before that, he was out for almost 1.5 years. Before that, he had a very weird performance against Giga Chikadze. It was a good fight, but it was not really a. You should be finishing Giga at this point. I think you should be finishing Giga at this point. And Costa has just been on a tear. He's beaten some credible names in the division. Christian Rodriguez is a tricky matchup for a lot of guys. He's beaten coming off two really big KOs. KO Dan Ige, which is no freaking joke. A lot of people beat Dan Ige, but KOing him is another level. He beat Morgan Charrier with an amazing head kick. And now, but Allen doesn't really get knocked out. Allen looked really good in his last fight, but Silva landed the bigger shots, and so which won him the matchups, had the bigger moments. And Malik Kizil hasn't really shown a lot of power, hasn't shown a lot of power in his hands. He's a good fighter, he's a great fighter. So is Allen. I think I'm gonna. I think Allen is a notch above the comp that Costa has fought till now, and this is an amazing showcase for him. I'm really happy that he's getting this chance. Big main event. I think he's after the if he wins this fight, he's gonna be one or two fights from the title shot. They might just match up the winner of this fight with Kevin Vallejos depending on the timing. And I think I'm gonna go with Allen. I think Allen has really good striking defense. He might be able to mix in the takedowns from time to time and keep. I think he's strong in the clinch, and he has good experience. Going 5 rounds with this is a main event. He has been 5 rounds with with the likes of Max Holloway. That's such useful experience. That's such beneficial experience for him. And I think I'm gonna go with Allen on this one. He has good experience. Moving on. So weak main event, bruh. Weak main event. They should have actually done Whaley. They should have had Whaley Zhang defend fight Dern for the title at this event actually, with Song and Figgy as the co-main or some shit like that. I'm gonna go with Song. I think Davison has looked so bad in his last two fights. He literally did nothing against Montel Jackson. He didn't do much against Umar. What a bad fight that was. I just have to go with Song. Song didn't look that bad against Sean O'Malley. He should have done a little bit more, but I think Figueiredo was the perfect opponent for him to go out there, get a KO in front of the Chinese crowd. And yeah, I think he's gonna be do. I think he's gonna get a KO actually. Figgy has just looks so frail. That face looks shriveled up. He looks. I think he's taken a lot of damage in his career. Wars with Brandon Moreno, those weight cuts to 125. He's taken some damage in at 135 as well now. He went 5 rounds with Peter Yan. That was an amazing fight, but yeah, I think Father Time has caught up to him, man. I think yeah, I think he's gonna get knocked out in this fight and just probably hang it up or maybe do one more. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I think yeah, Muhammad versus Bonfim. It's a good matchup. Bilal had a really good performance, in my opinion, against Ian Gary. Ian Gary is probably going to fight for the title next against Makachev. He has a quality win over Carlos Prates, which is not easy at all. And yeah, I think Muhammad actually stole one of the rounds. I think he won one of the rounds in that fight. Let's see what the scorecard was. Bilal Muhammad. And this guy, Gabriel Bonfim, hasn't looked too good whatsoever. He beat Randy Brown. That was, I mean, it's fine, I guess. It was a weird stoppage. Let's see what the scorecard was. Yeah, so there was 129-28 scorecard, 30-27, 30-27, but it was a close fight. It was not, a lot of people were expecting Ian Gary to actually decimate him, get a couple of 10-8 rounds or some shit. That never really happened. Bilal fought him hard, and I think Bilal is, uh, yeah, just a level above anything Bonfim is equipped to deal with right now. I think he lost that fight to Wonderboy. I've seen him get beaten up by Nicholas Dalby, who is nowhere close to top of the division. Bilal was on a 10 fight win streak or something at a point, has quality wins, and I think he's gonna beat Bonfim in this fight convincingly. I think he's gonna win uh 49-46 decision. Yeah, I think he's gonna win a 49-46 decision. Yeah, so and yeah, the UFC White House. I think this is pretty obvious. I think Justin might land a leg kick here, a leg kick there, but man, when he goes to close that distance, Topuria is gonna land that 3-2 on him and spark him out cold. Yeah, I think that's just my opinion. I don't see Topuria losing this fight whatsoever. I could be wrong. I could be really wrong. A guy like Justin Gagey might have the willpower in him and the strategy to pull this off, but man, Topuria is something else. I think the Charles versus Max fight just showed Topuria's level, because Max could not even defend one takedown of Charles's, but which Topuria did really easily. He actually reversed position on Charles and then just knocked him out cold. So yeah, I don't think Gaethje has what it takes. Gaethje has, on the other hand, he's lost to Charles, he's lost to Max, and hasn't. The fight with Fiziev was okay, but Fiziev himself hasn't looked re- really good in his last few. At least his last fight, he got knocked out pretty easily. He's not a big lightweight at all. He looks more like a featherweight. Before that, he got knocked out by Max. Before that, who did he beat before? Oh yeah, before that he KO'd Dustin Poirier. So but on the other hand, Topuria is beating legends of the game. We are seeing how good Volkanovski still is, and Topuria just destroyed him, just destroyed Max, destroyed Charles, and he's gonna destroy Gaethje. Yeah, so that's about it. I've predicted all these main events. I'm so freaking excited. Let's freaking go.